Hi, my name is Matt Collins. I'm going to publish a series of videos geared towards beginner and maybe novice folks getting into the fly fishing hobby. I've been fly fishing for 20 years. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm still learning. It's the joy of the sport. You're continuously learning new things and meeting new people that have different backgrounds, and I will hope to share some insight with you on how I fish, the style that I enjoy fishing, and it's a particular style that I believe is very effective for anyone, whether you're new to the sport or you're seasoned. That this is an extremely effective method that I have found a lot of joy in researching. There's a deep history there, back to the old country where fly fishing was started, and that is fishing soft hackles and wet flies. I was introduced to soft hackles and wet flies by a gentleman by the name of Joe Cambridge, retired English professor, who speaks very highly of wet flies. I've been fishing for 20 years, and I heard his talk maybe 17 years ago when I first joined a local club. And ever since that presentation, I have researched, read many books, fished this style, just DVDs, anything I could find on this particular topic. I have taken a deep dive in because I have found confidence in it. It's brought some of the greatest memories I've had on the stream in terms of fish I've caught. It's a very relaxing way of fishing, and I would like to share it with a wider audience, because I want to help people. I want the sport. I want people to be successful in the sport, and this is a great way to get started. So I want to publish a series of videos on flies that I'm tying this winter in preparation for the spring fishing season. Well, I may even get out this winter. I may post some videos on that. But as I'm preparing and stocking my fly box this winter, I'm going to document as in time flies, maybe share some insight on their effectiveness and when to use these flies. And as we transition to the spring, maybe we'll go on the water here with my GoPro, and I'll help you connect the dots as the flies we tied and how to rig, how to fish these style flies. So tonight we're going to tie a pheasant tail soft hackle, which can imitate many different bugs you would see on the creek or river. They say that this pheasant tail is a good March Brown imitation. It just looks very buggy. Fish love it. It's one of my confidence go-to flies, and it has a permanent home in my fly box. So tonight we're gonna show you how to tie the pheasant tail soft tail. Okay, to tie this fly, we're gonna use a TMCO TMC 3761 size 14. I usually use these these hooks for my flies. Pheasant tail soft hackles that represent March Browns range from as big as 12s to as small as size 16. Okay. Obviously, pheasant tail for your body. Hungarian partridge for your collar. I want to talk about the Hungarian partridge briefly. When you're selecting a Hungarian partridge, you want a skin that has a nice, even distribution of, kind of these gray, white, speckled feathers, and the dark brown feathers in the center. A good skin will have an even distribution of both. So keep a lookout when you're selecting a skin. I have two here because I've been picking away at them, and I've been making a lot of these flies. So just some insight there. For your thorax, just some generic dubbing. I have a blend here of just a drab gray. You can do a dark brown for this fly. It doesn't really matter. or you can do have a variety in your fly box. Black thread, and I said copper wire for ribbing. So let's get started. You want to pinch your barb down if you don't. You do that if you haven't done it prior. Form your base. I like to start my copper wire mid shank because I like to wrap the thread down over it to the bend of the hook for durability. So tie your copper wire into the near side of the hook and run it down the length of the shank. Okay. Get to the shank. You want to select around 5 to 6 fibers of pheasant tail for your tail. I like to wet these down so I can work them. They're not going all over the place. The scale I'm going for, you want to make sure the natural tips are at the end section because that represents the tail more naturally. When you're tying in your pheasant tail, for your scale of length, you probably want to go maybe 1/3 of the shank length. You want to kind of eyeball it here. That looks a little too short, so I want to pull a little bit back. That looks decent. Let's cure that down. Okay, I'm going to keep those wet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my hackle pliers. Okay, grab the tips of my pheasant tails, fibers. Like so. I'm going to twist. I'm going to form a rope. Don't overdo it on the twisting. Just enough to give it a rope type look, because you twist too much, you're going to put a lot of stress on this point. And what I'm doing that for is, why I'm doing this is that this gives your forgot to bring your thread up to where you're going to tie your thorax in, 2/3 up the hook shank. Anyway, the reason why I did that is that it gives your fly great segmentation. Even make him look more realistic. And it makes your fly a little bit more durable too. Tie that off. Cut your fibers. Then you want to take your copper wire under, then bring on top, and when you do that, it'll splay your tail fibers up because you want underneath, and now you're applying down pressure, which is nice. And counter wrap that up the body. Make sure that's nice and snug. Now, take a pinch of your nymph dubbing. Wet your fingers down. Throw some of that on there. See those guard hairs? That's good stuff right there. These guard hairs will capture tiny air bubbles in the water, which is great because when you're fishing these flies, fish may, when a mayfly emerger is rising to the surface, it has little gaseous bubbles, and it's this does a great job at simulating that. Take a little bit. There you go. Now you have a nice thorax. Take your, I'm going to go with a dark brown feather for my soft hackle. This one looks just as good as any. This one's good. Peel away the fluff at the base. Trim the quill. I like to flatten the quill perpendicular, or excuse me, parallel to the, this is what I do, and I'll tell you why. Pinch that down. What that does is when you turn, the feathers will all turn back towards the bend of the hook. Another tip I use to help with that is just pull this 90 degrees from the shank, and that helps too. I'll make sure that's in there nice and secure. Go behind it, front of it. Okay. Take your hackle pliers to tip. Coach these down, and start turning. No more than 2 turns. One. That's 2. And I'm just coaching the fibers. And I'm just going to go behind all of them, in front of my tie-in point. Doesn't matter. You're going to see how this gets cleaned up nicely here. Trim your feather off. Pull this all back. Wet your fingers and pull it all back. Bring your thread all in front of that. And now form your neat head. Now it's time to whip finish. There you have a nice rendition of a pheasant tail soft hackle.